Welcome to the Middle Eight Football Podcast, the fastest 8 minutes in sports. I'm your host, Joe Burks, and today we're going to be breaking down the opening slate of NFL action in Week 1. We have so many games to get to and only 8 minutes to do it, so let's go ahead and kick it off. Just one note before we start. I think it's important to remember that we shouldn't be overreacting to Week 1 games. Teams are still adjusting to new game plans. New players are still adjusting to new teams, and there's going to be a ton of change that takes place between now and Week 17. Let's go and start with the Texans versus the Rams. Texans offensively just could not get anything going. The Rams defense, especially that front seven, really stifled them. The offensive line for Houston looked pretty lackluster. But quarterback Matt Stafford and wide receiver Puka Nacua picked up right where they left off with 130 yards between the two of them. Nacua obviously was pretty injured last year, banged up, but still put in a good season. But this is a really good start for him. And the wide receiver duo of Nacua and Adams is looking really solid. Devontae Adams, that is. And the Rams did come out with a win in that game. We have the Broncos versus the Titans. The Broncos offense looked pretty out of sync to start things out. Bo Nix, second-year quarterback, had 3 total turnovers, lost a fumble, and threw 2 interceptions. He did enough to win, had some solid moments, including a touchdown to Cortland Sutton. And the rushing attack for Denver looked pretty good. R.J. Harvey, the rookie out of UCF, had a 50-yard run. J.K. Dobbins looked solid as well. Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick for the Tennessee Titans. He made a couple solid throws, but his wide receivers had so many drops. He was pressured, which is understandable from as good of a defense as Denver has. But the team around him really failed him this week. But I'll be looking for Ward to hopefully have a bounce-back game next week. We have the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, all the main weapons on offense for the 49ers, all put up pretty solid offensive performances, even with George Kittle leaving with a hamstring injury early on in the game. He did still have a touchdown. And the defense looked solid as well. And the Seahawks, even though they lost the game, their defense looked really solid. They came up with 2 really impressive interceptions. But the main thing is they just could not run the ball at all against this 49ers defense. Zach Charbonnet had 12 carries while Kenneth Walker only had 10. Was that backfield split because they just couldn't get anything going as far as the rushing attack? Maybe it was. But I'll be looking for more balance from the Seahawks as far as both sides of the ball go in week 2. Cincinnati versus Cleveland. The rookies look good for Cleveland. That was 4th round running back Dylan Sampson. I believe he caught 8 passes, which was pretty crazy. And then 3rd round tight end Harold Fannin Jr. The Bengals did come out with a win, but I think this offense needs to find its rhythm. Obviously, it's week 1. I think this is one of those teams that's going to get better as the year goes on. Maybe not on defense, but certainly on offense. They did enough to win in the end. New England versus Las Vegas. Drake May had another promising game. Completed 30 of 46 passing attempts for 287 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick as well. Patriots did come out with a loss, but had a couple of decent moments. I mean, Trayvon Henderson looked solid. I think this is a team that's going to get better as the year goes on, or at least look more promising for next season. Then Las Vegas. Geno Smith had a pretty good performance. He had 362 passing yards, which is picking up right where he left off. And speaking of picking up where they left off, Brock Bowers looked amazing once again. He had 5 receptions for 103 receiving yards. And then Ashton Jeanty, 6th overall pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, had a decent performance. Really was pretty inefficient on the ground, but did end up scoring a rushing touchdown and showed some flashes of that dominance. So we have the Giants versus the Commanders. Commanders come out on top, 21-6. A couple big storylines from this game. Daniels missed a couple throws he should have hit, but overall played a pretty good game of football. Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara, 7th round rookie running back, also had a very good game, put up 8.2 yards per carry. The Giants had a really poor offensive performance. Russell Wilson played less than half of his pass attempts. The rushing attack looked really uninspiring. Russell Wilson was the leading rusher, which is not a great sign. And the biggest storyline from this is that head coach Brian Daboll did not commit to Russell Wilson being the starting quarterback in week 2. Could it be Jackson Dart time already, the first-round quarterback out of Ole Miss in his rookie season? If they are only able to put up 6 points again in week 2, then Dart can see the field very quickly. We have Carolina versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville came out with a 26-10 victory. This game started at like noon and finished at I think 4:30 or something, just because of that weather delay. Jaguars look good running the football. Travis Etienne proved that I was wrong. He had a monster game on the ground with 143 rushing yards. Travis Hunter, two-way superstar Heisman Trophy winner, had 6 receptions for 33 yards. Tyrell McMillan, 8th overall pick for the Carolina Panthers at wide receiver, 5 receptions for 68 yards. But the Panthers as a whole looked very bad. Bryce Young struggled mightily against this Jaguars defense. 2 interceptions for him. And while I am giving him the benefit of the doubt, it's just week 1. He had some really great games last season, some great moments. The Chiefs and Chargers also played on Friday in Brazil. Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, just an elite quarterback battle. Justin Herbert looked the part of a top 5 quarterback, and the Chargers come out on top. Xavier Worthy got injured for the Chiefs, and they're already without Rashee Rice on a 6-game suspension, so Hollywood Brown seems to be the top wide receiver in both of their absences. But the receiver trio of Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson look really good for the Chargers. Amarian Hampton, rookie running back, also put a solid debut. We at Indianapolis versus Miami. If the Dolphins keep playing like this, they need to absolutely clean house. I'm talking about Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, head coach Mike McDaniel, GM Chris Grier. Tua looked awful out of the gate, threw 2 really bad interceptions, overthrew his receiver on one, threw it to a defensive end on the other. The secondary looked really, really bad as we expected it to. And the Colts looked really good on both sides of the ball. Really, really surprised me. Daniel Jones especially. I owe an apology to Daniel Jones. 272 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns. Looked comfortable, made some good throws downfield. In week 2 versus Denver, and that really good defense will be a good measuring stick game for him. Tyler Warren, rookie tight end out of Penn State, number 14 overall pick, had a really strong game out of the gate. Defensively, the Colts got a ton of pressure, 2 interceptions. We had the Steelers versus the Jets, which would have been the best game of the week if not for the Sunday night game. The running game didn't look great, but the passing game really carried them to victory. We got the Packers version of Rodgers on Sunday, not the Jets version. He looked fantastic against this New York defense. And Justin Fields, another guy that really proved me wrong. I was critical of him in the offseason. Didn't know if he would be starting the whole season, but a really great performance from him. He was sharp and accurate, looked good as a runner. But I do want to wait a couple weeks. Again, it was week 1. We'll see if he can sustain it in week 2. The Jets rushing attack looked really good. And that Steelers defense came up strong in the final drive. It was a shootout. But the Steelers defense kind of gave them the win there after Jalen Ramsey forced the incompletion on Garrett Wilson, a massive hit at the end of that game. Detroit versus Green Bay. Green Bay with a really dominant win. The Packers defense looked amazing with the addition of Micah Parsons. They had 4 sacks on Jared Goff compared to the Lions' 0 sacks. So they were getting a ton of pressure. The Lions also could not run the football with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They averaged 2.1 yards per carry as a team. I'm not super worried about Detroit. I do believe in Dan Campbell. I do believe in the offensive and defensive playmakers on this team. But Green Bay could be one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL. Jordan Love also looked pretty solid, had 2 passing touchdowns. The running game looked good with Josh Jacobs. Plenty of weapons in the passing game. We have the Buccaneers versus the Falcons. Buccaneers come out on top. And Michael Penix Jr., second-year quarterback for Atlanta, looked very solid. Made some good plays with his legs. Had 298 passing yards and 2 total touchdowns. I've said it before, I'll say it again. With a 2-minute drill, give me Baker Mayfield over maybe any other quarterback in the NFL to win you a football game. He's done it multiple times, but he did it yet again against the Falcons, driving them downfield and then delivering a strike to Emeka Egbuka to win the game. The Falcons ended up missing the game-winning field goal after Penix got them into field goal range. A rookie wide receiver Emeka Egbuka for the Buccaneers looked as good as advertised. He got 2 touchdowns in his NFL debut. Then finally Buffalo versus Baltimore. The Bills win 41-40. Just an amazing game of football. And I believe both of those quarterbacks will be MVP candidates once again at the end of the season. Derrick Henry, running back for the Ravens, was having a generational game before a back-breaking fumble for the Ravens. He had 18 carries for 169 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Personally, my fantasy team was on the wrong end of this when I was playing Josh Allen. He put up like 38 points or something. He had 425 total yards and 4 total touchdowns. So just a really MVP caliber game from Allen, and the Ravens and my fantasy team will be looking to get right in week 2, although maybe I could pull out the matchup if DJ Moore puts up a good performance against the Vikings tonight. But overall, just an instant classic game. Both teams played very, very well. The Bills come out on top with a unbelievable game from Josh Allen. Moving into the Monday night breakdown, we have Chicago versus Minnesota. A super important game for both teams. McCarthy and the Vikings, it's J.J. McCarthy's regular season debut for Caleb Williams and the Bears. New head coach in Ben Johnson, who I really believe in. Loaded offense on paper. Overall, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it could end up being close, but I'm taking the Vikings 28-20. Then we have our Thursday night matchup, Washington versus Green Bay. Another fantastic game. I believe it's going to be super close. If I had to pick one team, I'm going to take Washington by a hair, but I can't emphasize enough how 50-50 I am on this. The Packers could be one of the best teams in the NFL with what they showed in week 1. But again, I don't want to overreact. It is just week 1. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Don't forget to follow the podcast, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.